Yes, Berkeley is a two-time nomination. He's upcoming for some more nominations, but once we get the public voting, you guys enjoy his music and want to help our Lakota people succeed, please vote for Tanashi here. So we'll give you the stage, Tanashi.
Check. Do I use this one?
Oh, here he comes. Okay, we're up.
Oh, how matakapi. Ante washte nape choose apolo. My name is Spur Puyer, and I come to you guys from Thunder Valley, South Dakota. And it feels good. It feels good to be here with you. It's an honor. It's a blessing. We're all family here. And I'm a traditional musical artist. I grew up my whole life, going to Inipis, ceremonies, singing our prayer songs. And like 3 years ago, I start transferring over to like round dance music, love songs, and that did pretty well for me. I got 3 studio albums that I just happened to come out with, and they did really good. They asked me to come up and to share some of my music with you guys, so you guys enjoy it. First one I want to share is off of my recent album. This one's called "What's on Your Mind." Way oh ha, way ah eh hi, way ah we oh way oh ha, way oh ha we hey oh hey oh. Way yo ha, way I hi, way ya we oh way yo ha, way yo ha we hey oh. Baby, tell me what's on your mind when I'm so far away. I want you to know that I think of you too. Hey oh, hey oh, hey, way oh ha. Way I high, way out we way oh ha, way oh ha, we hey oh, hey oh, hey oh. Way oh ha, way I hi, way oh we oh way oh ha, way oh ha we hey oh hey oh hey oh. Baby, tell me what's on your mind when I'm so far away. I want want you to know that I think of you too. Hey, oh, hey, oh, hey, oh. I hope. So, around that songs, love songs, they're like mainly like heartbreak, that type of stuff. So, doesn't mean I ever got my heart broke, but, you know. And then Tavares. Shout out my bro Tavares. I was trying to get him to come sing a song with me. He's a really good singer too. So I want to end it. I want to end it with a prayer song. Not now. Hold up. Not yet. My end song. I want to see if he'll come up and share one with me. So yeah. Every time I get asked to perform, I don't even know what songs I'm gonna do. So give me a minute to try to think of one. This one's called "Loved You Once, Love You Still." Wait, oh, hey, oh, hey, oh, hey, oh, hey, oh, well, ha, well, hi, oh, hey, oh. Oh, hey, oh. Loved you once, I love you still. Always have and always will. Wait, oh. Always have and always will. Hey, oh, hey, oh, hey. Oh, hey, yo, hey, oh, whoa, ha, well, oh, hi, oh, hey, oh. Oh, oh. Loved you once, I love you still. Always have and always will. Oh. Always have and always will. Oh. I hope. So how you guys doing today? Oh, there you go, Trayton. There you are. I told him that he has to be the loudest one. Every time I get done, that was the first time I heard you, Trayton. So yeah, like every time when I start getting asked to go perform, I'm like, damn, I just sit there. I don't have no music, so it's kind of sometimes it don't like the crowd not into it, but sometimes they are. So you guys need to stop being shy and start screaming around. Just kidding. This next one I'll share is my mom's. My mom always tells me to perform this one. My bro Gunnar Jules, I'm sure some of you guys might know him. I think this was his first traditional song that he's ever composed, and he sent it to me, and I was like, damn, bro, that's one of my top 5 I've ever heard, and it's a really, really good song. And this one's called Another Way. So shout out my mom. Aw. Way, oh, way, I. Way, oh, hey. Way, oh, hey, I. Way, oh, hey, I. Way, oh, hey. Way, oh, hey, I. We are hey, way oh hey I, way oh hey, way oh hey, hey oh hey oh hey oh. With you I found another way to make it out to another day. I found my way to make it home. I'm here to stay. With you I found another way, another way. Hey, oh, hey, oh, hey, oh. Way, oh, way, I. Way, oh, hey. Way, oh, hey, I. Way, oh, hey, I. Way, oh, hey. Way, oh, hey, I. We are, hey. Way, oh, hey, I. Way, oh, hey. Way, oh, hey. Hey, oh, hey, oh, hey, oh. With you I found another way to make it out to another day. I found my way to make it home. I'm here to stay. With you I found another way, another way. Hey, oh, hey, oh, hey, oh. I hope. Shout out my mom. Everyone, hey, can everyone make some noise for my mom one time? She always gives me. I always give her heck, I guess, because she's my momager. Every time I need a W-9, all the stuff I need for my like performances, all that, hit her up. So shout out you, mom. I gotta learn how to do a W-9. I don't even know how. Okay, so okay, so shit, they told me to come up here for an hour, and I was like, damn, Drake don't even do an hour. That's a long time just to. So I'll do a couple more. Hope you guys are enjoying. So yeah, like I said, I just sit here and just sing. So let me see. This next one I want to do. This one's called "Why Did You Have to Call?" Huh? Why did you have to call? Yeah, we don't like that sometimes, you know. Aw. Okay. Way away, hi-yo, hey. Way away, hi-yo, hey. Way away, oh. Way away, hi-yo, hey. Hey, oh, hey, oh, hey, oh. Why did you have to call when you know that I'm barely over you? You keep playing these games 'cause you know that I'm missing you. Hey, oh, hey, oh, hey. Way out away, hi oh hey. Way out away, oh hey. Way out away, oh. Way out away, hi oh hey. Hey oh hey oh hey oh. Why did you have to call when you know that I'm barely over you? You keep playing these games 'cause you know that I'm missing you. Hey, oh, hey, oh, hey, oh. I hope. Do we have any birthdays in the house? Damn, I knew that was gonna happen. Every time I go perform, I'm like, hey, I'll just sing my happy birthday song. And then I'm like, anyone got any birthdays? And everyone, there's always someone, you know? But I was like, damn, what if one time no one does have a birthday? So no one really does? Well, shit. All right. Well, Tim, it's my bro. My bro Tim's birthday. He's not here, but shit, I'll sing him a birthday song. Yeah, like people always message me all the time, like ask if I could, share a birthday song for their kid, their baby. And I never knew one. I didn't know one, so I was like, damn, I gotta try to make one. So I finally came up. Oh, Steph. Aho, birthday. Oh, shit. It's for you, Steph. So yeah, I came up with the birthday song in my last album, and yeah, I'll share that with you guys. And then I'll do one more, and then I should be. Oh yeah, Tavares has to come up, and that should complete my hour. Ah. Okay, so this is shout out you, Steph. If I can remember it. Up. Way oh hi hey oh way hi way oh hi hey oh way oh hi oh hey way oh hi way oh hi oh hi hey oh hey. Hey oh, hey oh, hey oh. On this special day, you came into our lives. So thankful for you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Hey oh, hey oh, hey. way oh hi hey oh, way hi way oh hi hey oh, way oh hi oh hey, way oh hi, way oh hi oh hi, hey oh hey. Hey oh, hey oh, hey oh. On this special day, you came into our lives. So thankful for you. Happy birthday to you. Happy, happy birthday to you. Hey oh, hey oh, hey oh. Aho. Happy birthday, Steph. Okay, so Aho, Tavares. When it comes, bro, come sing with me, man. So yeah, the way I like to end my sets, I like to end it in like a prayerful way, especially these times that our people, the world went through, with this pandemic. We lost a lot of loved ones, and these prayer songs really bring that feeling of like healing. So every show I do, I always end it in a prayerful way like that. And I want to share a prayer song to end there. So I call my brother up to come share one with me, and so yeah, I hope. Just back me up and then go into harmony. The hi-hat is kind of medium. Way oh hi oh hi oh hey oh hey oh hey oh hi oh hey oh hey oh we I way oh hi hey oh hi oh way way oh hi hey oh hi hey oh hi oh well hey oh way oh hi oh hi oh well hey oh way oh hi hey oh hi oh way oh hi hey oh hi hey oh hi oh well hey way oh hi oh way oh hi oh well hey oh we way oh hi hey oh hi oh way oh hi hey oh hi hey oh hi oh well hey oh way oh hi oh hi oh well hey oh we way oh hi hey oh hi oh way oh hi hey oh hi hey oh hi oh well hey Aho, shout out. Shout out both to Fires. So yeah, again, everyone, my name is Spur Puyer. I'm a traditional singer. I got 3 albums that are out on all streaming platforms. Nominated for an Anami for my second time this year. So that should be pretty good. One of the I'm not for like two categories. One of them I'm going up against Fawn, so that's scary. She's the goat. So shout out Fawn. I know is she here yet? She's not here. Oh, okay, yeah, yeah. I remember growing up listening to her, and she's now she knows who I am, and that's pretty cool. So yeah, thank you guys for letting me share some songs with you guys. Hope you guys enjoy. Again, shout out to Tate, Thunder Valley. That's my home. I come from there, and it's special that what the things they're doing, and they always call on me to ask me to come sing. So thank you guys again. Aho wopila matakiase.
Now it's my turn. Josh. All right. Let's hear it for Mr. Spur Puller, ladies and gentlemen. I know I'm not feeling that. Let's rock the roof off this motel here. Let's hear it for Spur Puller. All right. Some good Oloa there. All right, so what we're going to do, they're getting ready to set up a couple more breakout sessions here shortly at 1:20. We have Jarrett Work and Jada Gray Eagle. They'll be here, and they're going to cover through the indigenous lands. And then the other breakout room, we have the Indigenous Youth Council, Truth and Reconciliation Council, and Boarding School Work, and they will be located in the Black Hills Ballroom. I believe Lynette is over there. She will be the room host. And who's you, Deb? Are you the room host for this one? But I think, you know what, since we got time, I think we should do some drawings, Tamia. If you have your blue tickets out before we go, I think we have some time in between sessions. Let's do some drawings here, because the next sessions don't start till 1:20. So who wants to help Tamia with the drawing? Anton? Or bring it, I'll draw the ticket. So you guys get your blue tickets out. You guys were given at registration. I can't grab one. I'm trying. Okay, so ticket number one. The winning ticket I have is 415-116. 415-116. Nobody? Going once, going twice? All right, well, let's draw another one. Ladies and gentlemen, please give it up for Mr. Whitney Rencounter. He's in the building. All right, here's our next one. Winning ticket 415-216. Participated as a Native American journalist, fellow 4 times, including once as a mentor in training. Prior to joining Underscore, he served as an associate producer for Nevada Public's radio, Edward, Nevada Public's radios. Edward R. Murrow award-winning Native Nevada podcast, an 8-part podcast series highlighted the culture, issues, and perseverance of the 27 tribal nations in present-day Nevada. A proud father to a 7-year-old son named DiMaggio and a 2-year-old daughter named Miley. Jarrett says they are the cutest res dogs in Portland. Oh, I thought those were his children. They're dogs. Okay, so the next one is Jada Gray Eagle. It all begins with an idea. Maybe you want to launch a business. Maybe you want to turn a hobby into something more, or maybe you have a creative project to share with the world. Whatever it, Jada Gray Eagle is. Who wrote these? Anyway, give it up for Jada Gray Eagle. The mic's all yours, guys. Sorry about that.
Is this working? Okay.
You're on.
All right. Thank you so much, everybody, for having me here. I'm Jada Gray Eagle. I'm Oglala Lakota. I was born in Pine Ridge, and I grew up in Red Wing, Minnesota, and that is where I live in Minnesota. I live in St. Paul, and I am a Report for America fellow placed at the Sahan Journal. And the Sahan Journal is a new newsroom that covers communities of color within Minnesota. And I started on June 1st, 2020, which was a really wild time to start as a photojournalist, as the city was in an uprising due to the killing of George Floyd. And so it's been a really intense time so far working as a photojournalist, but I've learned a lot, and I'm really happy to be here with Jarrett because he's also a Report for America fellow. So.
Wahe Pinitain, Minhaban Nanisit Nakia. Hello, my relatives. My name is Jarrett Work. My Ani or White Plain name is Nakia Weasel Chief. I'm from the Fort Belknap Indian community in northeastern Montana, and I am a photographer and reporter. I guess I should push it with the Report for America as well. I just started in June of this year. So I'm about 4 months in on my new position. I graduated from the University of Nevada, Reno in 2018, or 2022. Holy, I can't believe I tried to say 2018. But yeah, I've worked in radio, in print, with photos, and I'm a part of a documentary called Remaining Native, which follows the story of a really incredible young man, Koo Stevens from the Yerington Paiute Reservation in Nevada, and he retraces his great-grandfather's escape from the residential boarding school, and he ran that as a little 8-year-old boy, ran away from the boarding school 3 different times before the government agents finally just let him stay home, and just it's been really great to be able to be a part of that, sharing that story, and yeah, I guess we'll kick into why we wanted to join Report for America. I'll explain that a little bit. So Report for America is a countrywide program that places journalists in local newsrooms across the country, and that's really, really important because local news matters. What happens in our communities matters, and I think I can speak for both Jada and myself when we say that we're super lucky to be able to cover the indigenous communities in the rural or the urban places like Minneapolis and Portland, but also like the rural communities that are in those states and across Indian country as well. Because who tells our stories matters, and having Indigenous reporters and photographers sharing our stories is super important, as we learned throughout this entire conference.
One of the first things that we both always do whenever we talk about photography is we always offer a Google search of Native American photography for today. So for 2022, this is what you get when you Google Native American photography. And if you look, it's mainly black and white photos. It's sepia toned. It's representative of people that are from 100 years ago. And although these photographs are beautiful, and I will say there are some contemporary representations of Native people in there, which is really amazing. This isn't representative of who we are today. This isn't representative of like the really bright, dynamic, colorful, beautiful, culturally rich histories that we come from. And so this is just something that we both do whenever we come into these spaces and we talk about the work that we do, because this is the work that we're up against. This is what you get whenever you're searching for us. You have to wade through so much of this to find the work that we're doing.
Yeah, I did this exercise a few years ago, back in 2018, before Secretary Holland and Representative Congresswoman Davis were elected. And when we Googled it, it was nothing but like this, black and white photos. And then after they were both elected to office, like their pictures showed up. And that just shows like the importance of representation. And we did that like back in 2018, and then in the beginning of 2019, we did that exercise again. And that was after they were both elected to office, and like just having that quick few months and having that like that accurate representation, that modern representation, really did like change. I mean, Google, but yeah, it's just really important for us to be showing like who we are. Having like Matika Wilbur right here, she did an amazing project where she tried to go across the country and document at least one person from each of the different tribal nations across the country. And like those are people that we look up to, and like them doing that type of work, and like as Jada said, adding to like the archive, the database of our modern people. So.
Yeah, so I think we both just wanted to share why we got into journalism. And for myself, it was actually, we have two different stories. For me, I was dealing with journalists a lot in my life. So I grew up, close to the reservation, and there were always journalists coming in to tell our stories. And I never seen myself. It was always white dudes showing up and like from England. And somehow, for some reason, they thought that that would accurately tell our story of who we were as Oglala people. And so seeing that lack of representation was really inspiring to me, because I always think about like what stories would have been told if it was somebody who looked like me, who understood me showing up, rather than these people from England across an ocean. And, so one of the stories that I want to share is that I come from a family of beadworkers, and I was asked to participate in this article by a local newspaper, and I think I was around 19 at the time. And they were like, oh, we want to write an article about your beadwork. And I was like, cool, this is amazing, I'm 19, this is so cool. And so the two journalists that show up from the local paper weren't listening to me. Like they were not, they couldn't repeat back to me what I was telling them. The photojournalist was obviously so bored of my story. He took one photo and he left. And then the journalist that stayed just didn't listen to me. And so I was always thinking like, they have my dream job and they're so bored. And if I had that opportunity, I am always going to show up fully. I am never going to make anybody think that their story is boring. And that's what I continue to do to this day. So that's what inspired me to get into photojournalism.
Yeah, I grew up in rural Montana, there wasn't really a lot of coverage. We had a local photographer named Randy Perez, and he would be at every single event. I don't even think he like studied photography or anything, but he'd be there with his big old camera at all of the different like basketball games and stuff like that. And he'd be taking pictures of our community members, of our youth, and stuff like that. And it would be like cool seeing him there because whenever he'd show up, he'd get like a new Facebook profile picture, and like just seeing him coming from our community and being out there documenting our people at all of these different events and stuff, it was really cool for me to see. And then like back when Standing Rock was going on, I was going to school to be a dentist. My parents wanted me to be an orthodontist, and I was just studying like doing like the pre-med gen eds and stuff like that. And I hated it. I was miserable. And then I took a journalism class as an elective because the summer before I had seen all of the coverage of what was going on at Standing Rock through Facebook. And I wanted to start those conversations in my journalism school. And I was asking my professors, like, why aren't we talking about this? And every professor was like, we don't even know what's going on. You know, how do you know about this? And I was like, through Facebook. You know how like natives are. We always like go on Facebook and everything. But yeah, like that really inspired me to go from that point and continue to like cover what was going on. Like the people from the Reno community when I was living there, they were like helping spread the word and tell the stories that was going on when they were like traveling over to help out at Standing Rock and the different community events to raise awareness and stuff, and just seeing like the power that social media has and like the power of uplifting the voices and uh, covering these events. And, I mean, look at Standing Rock, it went across the world. People, started listening and, started standing in solidarity. You had people in like Paris, posting pictures saying that, they're standing in solidarity with like the native people trying to, fight for clean water. And yeah, that was just kind of like what inspired me to go into journalism. One of the classmates that I was in, he was like, why are you only covering Standing Rock? And I was like, well, if I'm not doing it, who's going to do it? So I think just having that drive to just help uplift our voices and help share the stories that are going on in our communities is what keeps me going. Um, yeah.
Yeah, and another thing that we wanted to touch on and talk about was the importance of us showing up. So, we both work full time in newsrooms, and we've both had experiences so far of how important it is that it's us showing up, that it's us on the other side of the lens, that it's us, writing these stories. And I think about this a lot. Like how erased just Indigenous people have been from the dominant narrative, and just how cool it is to carry such a strong name and have my byline show up in unexpected places. Like, I mean, I had the opportunity to photograph so many historical events and to be able to have my name attached to that and know that there is an Indigenous narrative in all stories is really important. So my newsroom doesn't just cover Indigenous stories, we also cover communities of color. And we cover a lot of immigrant stories, which in turn are actually a lot of Indigenous stories. A lot of immigrant people are, displaced Indigenous folks. And so one of the instances that I always think about whenever I think about that it's me showing up is we did this story a few months ago about some Afghan refugees that had come into Minnesota. And when I introduced myself, they were like, "Oh, are you from India?" And I said, "No, I'm not. I'm from here. I'm Indigenous. I'm Oglala Lakota." And they had no concept for what that was. They did not know that Indigenous people were still here or were still alive. And I just think about how important that was. That one of the first people that they met in America was an Indigenous person to help tell their story. Yeah.
Yeah, I think just adding on to what Jada shared, like when Native reporters show up to report on Native issues, like the stories are just different. like they're not the stereotypical like poverty porn stories or like the romanticized stories of just the warriors and stuff like that. Even though like that's who we are, like, but there's so much more to that. I know a few years ago when I did my first internship, I had covered like an honoring for high school students that had fought to be able to wear their regalia at graduation. And I showed up and I just hung out with them, ate dinner with them, and stuff like that. And I just because I knew like I wasn't going to take pictures of them when they received their eagle feathers or anything like that. And then 1 year passed after that happened, and they had a different reporter that they sent out to there. And the same people that were putting it on, they were like, "Who's this white lady that they sent out here to, do all of this stuff?" And she's like being rude and was like not being respectful is what we were telling her to what take photos of and what not to take photos of. And another story that I think about is the story of Ku. I just wrote a long form piece about his journey to get to where he's at one of the best running schools in the entire country. When he was in Yerington, he was the only cross country runner in his school, and they didn't even want to give him a cross country season because the school couldn't afford to send him to places because he was the only runner. And he was the fastest kid in Nevada history. And for him to have to overcome those types of obstacles to be able to even just be the athlete that he is, and like when I was just talking to him and writing his story and everything like that, after it was published, he reached out to me and he was like, Jared, thank you so much for telling my story. You shared like so much more that other people didn't write, other journalists didn't write, and he got covered by like New York Times and all of the different publications up in northern Nevada. And the reporters, they weren't sharing like they didn't share like what his Paiute name, his Numu name. They didn't share like just like the different things that we as Native people like would share, and that like really made me feel good to know that I am sharing his story and stories like his in a different way than what the mainstream media is doing. So yeah, I think that's you can go.
We kind of just wanted to go through some of our work with everybody and talk about, like the behind the scenes of some of our photographs. So I'll go, then Jarrett will go. But this is one of my photographs that I recently did, and this is Leor Gonzalez Lazo, and she is a Zapotec woman. And so I recently finished a commission for Fujifilm cameras, and they had reached out to me and they asked me to propose a story that was about life in details. And I graduated from the Institute of American Indian Arts, and when I was down there, I came across Zapotec weaving. And it was so beautiful to me because it reminded me of our beadwork, and how they incorporate geometric designs into their work just felt like so familiar to me. And so when Fujifilm reached out and asked me to propose a story, I had asked to go to Mexico. Um, and it was a pretty far reach because I don't speak Spanish. And so I was actually amazed that they sent me. And one of the only ways that I was able to kind of like do it was I said, my partner speaks Spanish, so he can come with me. And they sent us both down there. And I got to spend time in this really beautiful Zapotec village, and it was really interesting because it was like being back at home. It was really comfortable. It was really safe. They have a lot of instances within their culture that are like ours. Like they practice something that's very similar to sweat lodges. A lot of their beliefs and stories are really similar to ours. And even though there was a language barrier, I felt like there was like a really incredible understanding between us as Indigenous people. And so this image is of the matriarch of the family, and she's standing in front of one of their weavings, their rug weavings that they do, that was created by her husband. And the really beautiful, rich colors are actually all natural dyes, from like cochineal and indigo. And yeah, I just got to learn so much, and it was really, I'm really blessed to have this opportunity. But yeah.
Jada's photos from this series, they're beautiful. And yeah, like just seeing her work and the work that she's doing is really inspiring to me. Uh, Here's a story that I helped cover a few weeks ago in Washington. They've been doing powwows at the Washington State Penitentiary in different facilities across the state, and they've been doing it for 50 years. And this is Chief Roy Red Thunder. He's one of the oldest living relatives to uh, Chief Joseph. And I was just sitting there, observing like the powwow and everything like that. It was just really cool to see just everybody come together and, just nobody was there to talk about, the bad things. It was all just fun. It was all just, good laughs, singing, dancing, and just being there with their loved ones. Another young man that was there, he hadn't seen his mom in 10 years, and that was the first time that they were able to be reunited. And just being able to go to this type of event at a prison, and just like you could see the officers with their badges in the background, like the barbed wire and stuff. But just like this picture, just to me, it shows so much like pride and just uh, just like goodness, like I don't know. It was really, really a fun point in my career so far, just to be able to attend that and see that, and just listening to everybody talking about how, they while they're incarcerated, they're away from their families and they're away from their culture and they're away from, so much stuff. And that was kind of what led them to become incarcerated. It was, they weren't, doing what they should be doing and stuff like that. But while they're in there, they're able to create some beautiful, beautiful beadwork, some of the best beadwork that I've seen in a long time, and incredible like paintings. And all of the inmates made their own regalia, and it was just a lot of fun to be able to go there. And then, like I don't know if anybody watched like the second to last episode of Res Dogs, but there was this little weird little guy in there, and he was like, talking to Willie Jack when she was about to go in there and visiting her auntie, and he told her, by you guys coming here, it means so much more to them than you realize, and that the story was released the day after that episode went live, and like that's the same feeling that I felt, just seeing everybody just being so happy to be there and see their loved ones. And uh, yeah, it was overall good, a little, situational, but overall it was really good.
Yeah, so this is my image. This is a woman who's a community leader in Minneapolis and St. Paul, and her name's Marianne Kiraz, and so she practices traditional Azteca dancing. And this was actually outside of the courthouse on day one of Derek Chauvin's trial for the murder of George Floyd. And there was a large protest outside of the courthouse going on, but one thing that I noticed that I didn't feel like a lot of other people were noticing was that every time that there was protests happening within the Twin Cities, it's always dancers that are showing up to start them. Like not to start the protests, but to set everybody off like in the community. And so I really focused on a lot of the dancing that was going on during the protests, and this is like a very prayerful moment, where they're, I forget what their medicine is called, but it's, it's similar to like sage and everything. And just the way that the light was hitting her, this was like the first moment, like, I think the crowd started to move, because before that, it was just like a large gathering of folks that had come to let their presence be known, and then the dancing started, and she started her prayer, and then the crowd started to move, and it was just a really like one of those awe moments, and I'm really glad that I was right where I was when I was to be able to make this photo, and it was just such a significant day for the community of Minnesota.
Yeah, here's a picture of Ku from this past Remembrance Run. Last year, they ran from from Stewart Indian School back to the reservation, and then this year they ran from the reservation back to the school, and they brought offerings and um, to the graves and uh, the school site and stuff. And I was able to attend, and it was hot. It was a hot 50 miles over 2 days, but like so many people from last year showed up, and so many new faces showed up too. Like this woman in the background. Last year she showed up, but then this year, she was 8 months pregnant, and for her to come on this journey with Ku and support him with, you know, sharing his grandfather's story and stuff like that. It was really, really good to be a part of. And there's going to be a documentary coming out, so y'all should watch it. But yeah, it was I don't know, like there was just so much going on in this moment. Like so many people were coming in, and I was like trying to capture a good photo and stuff like that. So it really wasn't um, had the opportunity to really like process what was going on. Like a lot of you in this room, like we all have a connection to boarding schools. Like back home on our reservation, we still have a mission school. My dad went there. He received, he had a lot of, well, he was also like a Bart Simpson kind of kid. So, but he just got like beat all the time. But like my grandma, when she went there as a little girl, she only spoke Aani, she only spoke our language, and then when she left, she never spoke our language again. But she still understood it. So that was kind of the reason why I wanted to jump in and help out with this film and sharing Ku's story. But yeah, this was just. I think if you zoom in, there might be like a small tear in his eye, but yeah, it was just a moving moment.
This is actually an image that I made just probably 4 weeks ago. So I was on assignment for the New York Times, and they had called me and asked me to go to the University of North Dakota to cover the story where the University of North Dakota has remains in their collection, and it was a really heavy story, and I kind of like debated on whether or not I wanted to go because it's so hard to deal with these things, even as a photojournalist, and so um, that's all to say that I am really happy that I went because the people that I met there were really just inspiring people to meet during that time. So this image is of two of the students that are there right now. They're two psych students, and their names are Ella Driscoll and Narissa Dohe. And I went to the American Indian Center the morning after I got there, and they were sitting in there, and they were so like studious. They were on their laptops, and they were getting ready to start their school day. But then I walked in, and they just immediately start talking to me, and they were just like, Ella said, once I heard that it was you who was showing up, I agreed to be photographed. But if they would have sent anybody else who wasn't a native photographer, I wasn't going to be a part of the story. And I think that's really important to know because, I mean, a lot of people are so media savvy these days. Like people now know that they can say no to journalists. I don't know that people knew that for a long time. Um, and so, and this next generation is so media savvy. They're always telling even me no. So I think it's really important to know who your audience is and to know that these kids are so empowered and they're so empowered to tell their own stories and they're empowered to who you're going to be sending to show up to help tell their stories. And so, one of the things that these girls had asked me to do, and I wanted to show this photograph that I'm about to describe to you, but I haven't asked their permission yet, was so they had told me that they wanted to have their portrait taken in the kitchen of the American Indian Center because after those remains had been found and it kind of went public and it was this like viral story that was happening, these two girls said that they went to the Indian Center on their campus and that they just sat there and they were just like distraught. They were like, "What do we do? Like this is so messed up." And what they started to do, both of them, was that they teamed up and they started to clean the kitchen of the Indian Center. And that is a kitchen, they said, that had been neglected for like 6 months, that it was just like rotten food in the fridge and like nobody was using it. And so they took, like this news, this energy of this really traumatic news, and they put it towards cleaning this kitchen. And so one of the photographs that they asked me to make was of just of them like laughing in this kitchen. And I took it and, I explained to the New York Times, like, this is why I'm taking this picture. And that didn't mean anything to the Times, but that meant something between all of us as Native women, because I think a lot of times when we go through traumatic moments, somehow, some way, it's always like we always come back together around a kitchen. And so I just told them that that was their auntie moment that they did, and that was them using their auntie powers to kind of like bring their community back together after the trauma that they had just faced.
So this is Quentin Young Tribes from the Snotty Nose Res Kids. He just did a concert with his bandmate, Darren Young D, and they're a hip hop duo from Canada. And does everybody know like the Bougie Native song? Like they're pretty big in Canada. Like they were just performing at the Polaris Awards like 2 weeks ago, and that's like the Grammys here. But like they were just so cool. Like I showed up to the venue that the concert was having like 2 hours before, and we just got to sit there talking, and it was just very conversational. The piece that we had, and we talked for about an hour and a half, and that was a lot of content for this piece that I worked on. But at the end, they were like, this was one of the best interviews that we had in a long time, and like that was like super cool to hear like people that have been fans of for a while.